Coming up on NBC 26 today, a Manitowoc teen charged with attempted homicide, the latest on the case. Plus, Joseph Jakubowski appearing in court, why he's not going to have to wait for a fair trial. And the Packers and Microsoft announced a new partnership. See what it could mean for Titletown.
Another quiet start out there this morning, mainly clear skies. We're sitting at 50 degrees currently in Green Bay, a south wind at 8 miles per hour. Here's a look at current conditions across northeast Wisconsin. Readings generally in the 40s to right around 50 degrees, 51 in Sturgeon Bay. It's 52 in Oshkosh and 45 degrees currently in Clintonville. Very quiet across the state of Wisconsin. Going to be another warm, breezy, and mostly sunny day. Highs will be topping out into the 70s this afternoon, but we have some rain chances in store for this weekend. More details on that coming up. Mo?
All right. It's good to have you with us on this Friday evening. I'm Mo Hyder. Brooke has the day off. We're learning more about a terrifying incident in Manitowoc. Police say an 18-year-old man tried to kill his ex-girlfriend. Court documents say the man put her in a headlock before putting a gun to her head. Witnesses describing the click of a trigger, but the gun didn't fire. NBC 26's Max Grossfeld picks a story up from there.
An 18-year-old Manitowoc man appears for his bail hearing just hours after being arrested. Police say he tried to kill his ex-girlfriend.
There were some comments made about him wanting to take the life of someone else and himself.
According to police documents, he tried, but a possible gun misfire might have saved a girl's life. Documents say the suspect then kidnapped his friend at gunpoint, forced him to drive to Sheboygan, then returned to Manitowoc where he was arrested with the help of the SWAT team.
We're very thankful that this didn't escalate to something else. We didn't have a person that was actually shot or a person that is deceased.
Encourage Manitowoc says there's one domestic violence situation that's reported to police in Manitowoc County every day. They say they're holding a vigil in order to highlight the issue as well as honor the victims and survivors.
An attempted homicide is obviously very serious, and we're grateful that it wasn't a homicide.
Sarah Meyer of Encourage Manitowoc says this case highlights the fight that communities continue to face.
And until we meet again.
It does, kind of reignite that fire for us to continue the work that we do and for our community to continue the work that we do as a community as well.
This suspect will be back in court to face charges Monday.
Lord, rise to meet you.
As community members watch vigil. Max Grossfeld, NBC 26.
Now, Meyer, who you just saw there, encourages anyone living through domestic violence to get help from groups like Encourage. Also, to get a restraining order and don't hesitate to call on police. The lawyer for former Janesville fugitive Joseph Jakubowski is lashing out at the Rock County Sheriff for comments he made during the manhunt. Michael Murphy says Jakubowski cannot get a fair trial. Yesterday, Murphy asked that Jakubowski's trial set for Monday be postponed until January. The judge agreed and moved it to January 22nd in Rock County.
He'd prefer to be in Rock County right now as opposed to Dane County. And so we're going to try to ameliorate his suffering as much as we can, but I don't know if we'll be able to get him out of federal custody to get him back to the Rock County jail before sentencing.
And Jakubowski is scheduled to be sentenced December 20th in federal court. A state lawmaker's daughter, an accused drug dealer, a homicide suspect. That all describes one person, Cassandra Nygren. You remember she's the daughter of state lawmaker John Nygren. Charges say her drug dealing killed a pregnant woman and the woman's unborn child. NBC 26's Stacey Engelbretson has new details.
According to the criminal complaint, Cassie Nygren and her boyfriend Sean Gray are facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of reckless homicide, delivering heroin, and more. Nygren appeared in court on Thursday. The charges come from the June overdose death of Jennifer Skeen. Court documents say after finding her dead, investigators looked at cell phone conversations between Skeen and Nygren. After further investigation, law enforcement used an informant to set up a drug deal with Nygren and Gray. Court documents say during the deal, Nygren's toddler son was in the car, and at one point, Nygren had a syringe that fell into the car seat where the child was located. The two were later arrested after the sting. Court documents show Nygren admitted to using drugs, saying, quote, "I have been using heroin for the last 10 years since I was 16 years old, and I have also lied to my father that has confronted me about my drug use and finding needles." Nygren stated she and Gray were heavy drug users and have known several people who have overdosed over the past several months, adding she sold Jennifer Skeen heroin, and after Skeen began to overdose, they gave her Narcan. Nygren said she was, quote, sorry I was not a stronger person to tell her no when she asked for heroin. Sean Gray will be in court on Friday. Nygren will be back in court on November 8th. Reporting in the Green Bay newsroom, Stacey Engebretson, NBC 26.
The man accused in the 1990 murder of Barrett Beck back in court. Dennis Brantner was charged back in 2015, but last year a hung jury led to a mistrial. Brantner's new attorney requested to delay the start of the trial by 6 months for more time to review evidence and gather witnesses. The judge denied that request but approved the state's request to have evidence examined by an expert. A 52-year-old Menasha woman is in jail this morning after allegedly firing her shotgun through her garage. Officers were called to her home on Walbert and 6th Street around 6:30 last night. Police do not know why the woman was firing the gun. She was referred on multiple charges, including recklessly endangering safety. The body of the 20-year-old woman who's been missing from Appleton since October 5th has been found. Authorities identified the body found along the Fox River in Little Chute as Caitlin Zhang. No word yet on how she died. Zhang's family releasing a statement earlier. It says, in part, in this time of need, we would like to extend our thanks to everyone who has helped look for Caitlin and aided in her search. We're just now coming to terms that she is no longer with us. It's a 122-year prison sentence for a truck driver from Oconto. Rodney Knepper was convicted of sexually assaulting at least 5 boys while they traveled with him in his semi. NBC 26's Shane Gustafson has the latest.
His face was straight, but the emotions ran high.
You victimize children. The victims here are children. If we can't be concerned about protecting children, we shouldn't be here.
48-year-old Rodney Knepper of Oconto was convicted of 25 counts related to child sex crimes back in July. His computer was filled with child pornography, and 5 boys accused him of sexually assaulting them on trips in his semi across the country.
How can you give these kids their childhoods back? How can you give any of these kids their childhoods back? How can you make them the same as they were before you assaulted them?
And each assault, a crime that if sentenced by itself, could add up to hundreds of years in jail. 2 of the at least 5 victims were in court here Thursday afternoon. Neither wanted to talk about their experience, saying it was too painful, but hope nobody else has to experience what they did.
You'd have to be reincarnated and come back to do the time that you deserve.
In Oconto, Shane Gustafson, NBC 26.
Anna Knepper's lawyer said his client was an alcoholic and didn't know what he was doing if he did anything at all. The judge quickly dismissed that claim.
Clear skies this morning to start off your Friday. It's going to be another unseasonably warm day today with highs climbing into the 70s. This morning we're starting out at 41 degrees in Oconto. It's 52 in Appleton, 52 in Oshkosh, 51 in Manitowoc, and it's 48 degrees currently in Anago. Wind speeds fairly light, a little bit of a breeze in a few spots, especially along the lakeshore. Winds will be breezy today out of the southwest. Mostly sunny skies, highs climb into the 70s this afternoon, but we have some rain in store for this weekend. We'll take a full look at your weekend forecast coming up.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. And with the ongoing overpopulation issues and continued violence against prison staff, a state lawmaker is once again pitching his idea in Madison. Representative Dave Stephan of Howard is attempting to convince state senators it's time to close the Green Bay Correctional Institution. The maximum security prison will need an estimated $220 million in safety upgrades and maintenance in the next 10 years alone. That's why Representative Stephan says the state should hire a contractor to build an entirely new prison.
It is much more cost effective to go with a new facility where it'll be modern. We don't have to spend that $200 million on repairs, as well as have some savings through staff reductions that come through expanded technology and a better design that allows for that to occur.
Also, other lawmakers argue the state should look to lower incarceration rates rather than building new prisons. Some say we should spend money on treatment rather than jail. Republican leaders are pushing the House to pass a Senate budget bill so experts can start crafting a tax reform bill. Late yesterday, the Senate passed a budget resolution for next year. It's key for tax reform because it gives tax writers their marching orders. The vote also means they'll only need a simple majority to pass the tax plan. Now, the House is expected to vote on the bill next. House Speaker Paul Ryan had said he wanted tax legislation written by early November. President Trump is getting ready to meet with the UN General Secretary today. It's their first formal meeting at the White House. They've interacted briefly during the UN General Assembly. President Trump led a meeting on that topic. They're also expected to talk about the Iran deal, North Korea, and peace in the Middle East. Well, still ahead, the Green and Gold are going full geek. The new partnership between the Packers and Microsoft that could bring more jobs to Titletown. And the winter outlook just released. Will we have a snowy winter? What NOAA has to say.
Temperatures today well above average, a good 20 degrees above average in spots with highs in the 70s for most northeast Wisconsin. Coming up after the break, we'll take a full look at your forecast into next week. Stay tuned. You're watching NBC 26 Today.
You're connected to NBC 26 Today with Brooke Hayes, meteorologist Michael Fish, remote weather with meteorologist Matt Hoffman, and Emily Byer. NBC 26 Today, keeping you connected.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is predicting very different winters for the north and south. NOAA says there's a 55 to 65% chance of La Nina weather conditions developing before winter starts. That would be 2 years in a row now. It says La Nina would set up the northern part of the country for a colder and wetter season. On the other hand, the south would see a warmer, drier winter. But how about us up here?
In Wisconsin, well, we are looking at equal chances of a colder or warmer winter. So could be either. But it does look like, as you'll see in this graphic, that for Wisconsin, it does look like it will be a wetter winter, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a snowier winter. So we'll have to wait and see. This is the forecast for December, January, and February. Currently, it is a mild start this morning, 50 degrees in Green Bay, a south wind at 8 miles per hour. Notice that sunset now before 6 o'clock in the evening. Temperatures around the area, it's 46 in Sister Bay, 54 in Kewaunee. Some cool spots off to the west, 44 in Wapaka. It's only 39 for you folks in Wautoma to start off your Friday, and 41 in Oconto. Winds not too terribly strong out there. A little bit of a breeze in spots in Kewaunee and Oshkosh. Winds will pick up though as we head again for today. Very quiet conditions across the upper Midwest. And it's going to be another warm one for the area as well. Highs today in northeast Wisconsin climbing into the 70s. It will be breezy as well. Clouds will thicken up a little bit, turning partly cloudy late today on into tonight. That'll make for even milder conditions to start off your Saturday. Looking ahead to this weekend, a very slight chance of a shower or storm on Saturday, mainly in the afternoon, but the day should be mainly dry. But Sunday looks rather wet and turning much cooler. We are going to see a cooler air mass work on in for next week, and we're going to get rid of this unseasonably warm weather we've been seeing all week long. Here's a look at Skycast as we go throughout the day today. Mainly sunny skies. Some clouds will start to drift on in late this afternoon on into this evening. Partly cloudy skies for tonight. Then tomorrow, most of us will likely stay dry. There could be a shower or thunderstorm, especially west of the Fox Valley. And then as we head on into Sunday, that's when we are likely going to see some widespread rain for across the area. Tomorrow, a thunderstorm possible. There is going to be a severe threat, though, if you're traveling to western parts of the state. As far as rainfall goes, on Sunday, that's going to be our main day that we're going to see that rain. Looks like right around 1/4 inch will be expected. Your forecast today up to 76. A good 20 degrees or more above average for this time of the year. Average high is 55 in Green Bay. Then tonight down to 57, partly cloudy. Your extended forecast looking like this. Once we get past the weekend, much cooler for next week. We're down to the 50s for highs by Tuesday into Wednesday. Maybe a slight warm up for Thursday, but then an even colder air mass looks to move on in late next week into next weekend.
No, I mean, I like it, but I'm going to the game on Sunday, and I see you got a little cloud up there.
Yes, we'll take a closer look at that forecast for the game on Sunday, but it does not look dry, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. All right,
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt. Well, standing strong against domestic violence and sexual assault, nearly 100 people showing their support during the 5th annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event along Green Bay City Deck. Everyone participating walking 1 mile in high heels to support victims and raise awareness for domestic abuse and sexual assault.
Because it's preventable, and we really could do something to help our young people understand that this is not healthy relationships, that there's an opportunity for them to really have a community without violence, to have relationships without violence.
All proceeds from the event help Golden House and the Sexual Assault Center Family Services. Well, still ahead, it's a partnership for jobs. The details of the Packers' partnership with Microsoft, what it means for Titletown. And number 15 in the house, Bart Starr will be at Lambeau. We'll tell you when, coming up. Welcome back. There's a new one-of-a-kind partnership between the Green Bay Packers and Microsoft. It's all for a good cause, though, an effort to boost jobs here in the Badger State. Our Regina Ahn has the details.
It's going to be another addition to Titletown, the west side of Lambeau, simply called Titletown Tech. The main idea is this state-of-the-art building will help startup and younger companies learn and grow from advisors and mentors for 18 weeks at a time. Microsoft and the Packers plan to commit to $5 million each over the next 5 years and have pledged to give back all profits to philanthropy or economic development.
I think it's a question of, keeping more of our college graduates here, but also attracting more young professionals. And we think Titletown generally will be helpful in that regard, but this particularly, if we're able to start some exciting young businesses that will be attractive to young professionals, that'll be a huge help to us.
The new building will open next fall. The Packers and Microsoft are collaborating to design the building, which the Packers will buy for $8 to $10 million. Keeping you connected, Regina Ahn, NBC 26.
And here's another look at your weather. Meteorologist Matt Hoffman is at the weather deck. Matt, what can we expect today?
Hey Mo, it's going to be another quiet day, not expecting any rainfall across the area, but that's going to change as we head into this weekend. Here's a look at current conditions across the state. Readings in the 40s and 50s, some colder conditions up to the north, a few spots in the 30s in Superior and Land O Lakes. We have dry conditions, clear skies across Wisconsin. We're going to see another warm one today with highs topping out into the 70s, mostly sunny and breezy. But then as we head into this weekend, things will be changing. But for tonight, playoff football starts for those high school games. Here's how it's looking if you're going to be heading to any of the area football stadiums. We're going to be seeing temperatures through the 60s, fairly mild for this time of the year. We're lucking out, Mo, as far as weather goes for football first night of the playoffs.
All right, we certainly are lucky for that. Thank you so much, Matt. 2 former presidents making an appearance this week, and some say their speeches indirectly criticize the nation's current political climate. Former Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama spoke at separate and unrelated events. Now, neither one of them mentioned President Trump by name, but used some words geared towards a divided country.
And our young people need positive role models. Bullying and prejudice in our public life sets a national tone, provides permission for cruelty and bigotry, and compromises the moral education of children.
But what we can't have is the same old politics of division that we have seen so many times before. It's the 21st century, not the 19th century.
And former President Obama was campaigning for governor candidates in 2 states yesterday. Former President Bush, though, he was speaking at the George W. Bush Institute. Coming up in sports, it's a game of revenge on the gridiron. What one Packers guard has to say as he gets set on to take his former team this weekend. Plus, Aaron Rodgers has surgery on that collarbone. What he had to say afterwards, and many fans are watching NBC 26 today. Stay with us.
And now, NBC 26 Sports with Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis.
Good morning, sports fans. We don't have a lot of Aaron Rodgers news, but we have important Aaron Rodgers news, and it has to do with that shoulder, that collarbone that's broken. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Rodgers underwent surgery yesterday on the broken collarbone. No reported timetable has been established as of yet on when he will return, if at all, this season. Moving on, there's an old saying that goes, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." That may be accurate, but a close second would be an athlete scorned, and gender doesn't really come into this one. When an athlete gives everything they've got for an organization, and then that organization says, "No thanks," that can be tough. It can get under somebody's skin, and that's what happened to offensive guard Jari Evans this offseason when the Saints, the team he played 11 seasons with, decided to move on from the big man, and the Packers picked him up. which brings us to this weekend, where Green Bay will host New Orleans and where Jari Evans will look to get at least a modicum of revenge.
I treat it as just another game, but obviously there's people in that building that probably thought that I wasn't the same player that I was before, and that's fine. It comes with age, but I feel as though I'm still an elite player in this game, and I prepare that way, and I go out there and try to show that in every play. So it's going to be fun.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sports keeping you connected. I'm Charlie Sakaitis for NBC 26.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Now, Aaron Rodgers, though, is thanking fans for their support after he broke his right collarbone on Sunday. The Packers quarterback tweeted this photo overnight following his surgery. He writes, "Surgery went well. Thanks for all the love, support, thoughts, and prayers. Hashtag comeback starts now." Rodgers is expected to miss the rest of the season, though. Just days after Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone in Sunday's game against the Vikings, several UW-Eau Claire students gathered on campus to show their support for number 12. A prayer vigil for Rodgers planned last night was rescheduled for next Thursday, but that didn't stop the diehard fans from showing up to show how much Rodgers means to them. And expect to see a Packers legend at this Sunday's game against the Saints. The family of Hall of Fame quarterback Bart Starr says he'll be on hand. The 83-year-old Starr hasn't been to a game since Thanksgiving of 2015 when he was part of unveiling Brett Favre's retired number 4. Starr has been recovering from 2 strokes and a heart attack he suffered back in 2014.
Clear skies this morning and temperatures pretty mild for this time of the year. Average lows are usually in the upper 30s, but we are well above that in the 40s to right around 50 degrees. Also, we are seeing very warm conditions again today. Highs will be into the 70s. It'll be breezy, winds out of the southwest. And then as we take a look at Skycast, things will change though this weekend. So today, very quiet, mostly sunny skies. Tonight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, we are going to start to see a cold front approach the area. Most of the wet weather will stay well to our west. A very slight chance of a pop-up shower or storm tomorrow afternoon. But the main event will be on Sunday as this cold front starts to push into northeast Wisconsin. And it does look rather wet. Most areas picking up right around 1/4 of an inch here in northeast Wisconsin. Higher rainfall amounts to the west and to the southwest. And for the game on Sunday, unfortunately, it does look pretty wet. Have that rain gear handy. Temperatures will be falling into the 50s by kickoff, and we should see light to moderate rainfall through a good chunk of the game. Stay tuned. We got much more of NBC 26 today coming up right after the break.
All right, welcome back. Sort of a chilly start to this morning.
A little cool, but it's going to be another warm day today. Highs in the 70s, warmer than what we saw yesterday. Unseasonably warm for this time of the year. Here's a look at current conditions outside in Green Bay. 50 degrees right now, a south wind at 8 miles per hour. Should have no problems getting off to work and school today. 40 degrees in Oconto, 51 in Manitowoc, 45 degrees in Wapaka, and it's 47 in Shawano. We have quiet conditions across the state, so Mother Nature not going to cause any problems today weather-wise. At the bus stop this morning, temperatures in the 40s to right around 50. After the final bell, it's going to be in the 70s. Wind's pretty breezy, but some very warm weather for sure. We'll take a look, though, at a cool down in the days ahead. Details on that coming up, Mo.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. Now we're learning more about a terrifying incident in Manitowoc. Police say an 18-year-old man tried to kill his ex-girlfriend. Court documents say the man put her in a headlock before putting a gun to her head. Police say witnesses describing the scene as a click of a trigger, but the gun didn't fire. NBC 26's Max Grossfeld picks a story up from there.
An 18-year-old Manitowoc man appears for his bail hearing just hours after being arrested. Police say he tried to kill his ex-girlfriend.
There were some comments made about him wanting to take the life of someone else and himself.
According to police documents, he tried, but a possible gun misfire might have saved a girl's life. Documents say the suspect then kidnapped his friend at gunpoint, forced him to drive to Sheboygan, then returned to Manitowoc where he was arrested with the help of the SWAT team.
We're very thankful that this didn't escalate to something else. We didn't have a person that was actually shot or a person that is deceased.
Encourage Manitowoc says there's one domestic violence situation that's reported to police in Manitowoc County every day. They say they're holding a vigil in order to highlight the issue as well as honor the victims and survivors.
An attempted homicide is obviously very serious, and we're grateful that it wasn't a homicide.
Rise to meet you.
Sarah Meyer of Encourage Manitowoc says this case highlights the fight that communities continue to face.
And until we meet again.
It does, kind of reignite that fire for us to continue the work that we do and for our community to continue the work that we do as a community as well.
This suspect will be back in court to face charges Monday.
Lord, rise to meet you.
As community members watch vigil. Max Grossfeld, NBC 26.
And Meyer encourages anyone living through domestic violence to get help from groups like Encourage, also getting a restraining order. Also, don't hesitate to call police. The daughter of a Wisconsin state lawmaker is now formally charged with causing the overdose death of a pregnant woman. Cassandra Nygren appeared yesterday in Brown County Court. Nygren and her boyfriend Sean Gray are accused of giving the fentanyl that killed a 31-year-old pregnant woman in Green Bay. The fetus did not survive. Gray is due in court later. The man accused in the 1990 murder of Barrett Beck back in court. Dennis Bratner was charged back in 2015, but last year a hung jury led to a mistrial. Bratner's new attorneys requested to delay the start of the trial by 6 months for more time to review evidence and gather witnesses. The judge denied that request, but approved the state's request to have evidence examined by an expert. A 122-year sentence handed down for the man convicted of sexually assaulting at least 5 boys in Oconto County. 48-year-old Rodney Nepper of Oconto was convicted of 25 counts related to child sex crimes back in July. His computer was filled with child pornography, and 5 boys accused him of sexually assaulting them on trips in a semi across the country. Judge Jay Conley got heated during the case, calling it one of the worst he's ever seen.
How can you give these kids their childhoods back? How can you give any of these kids their childhoods back? How can you make them the same as they were before you assaulted them?
The victims were in the courtroom but declined to talk to the media, saying it was too painful to relive. They did say, though, they hope no one has to go through what they did. A 52-year-old Menasha woman is in jail this morning after allegedly firing her shotgun through her garage. Officers called to her home on Walburn and 6th Street around 6:30 last night. Police do not know why the woman was firing the gun. She was referred on multiple charges, including recklessly endangering safety. The body of the 20-year-old woman who's been missing from Appleton since October 5th has been found. Authorities identified the body found along the Fox River in Little Chute as Caitlin Zhang. No word yet on how she died. Zhang's family, though, releasing a statement that says, in this time of need, we would like to extend our thanks to everyone who has helped look for Caitlin and aided in her search. We're just now coming to terms that she is no longer with us.
We have clear skies across northeast Wisconsin this morning. Temperatures are sitting in the 40s to lower 50s across the area. 55 in Kewaunee, 51 in Manitowoc, the cold spot. Wautoma this morning at 39 degrees and 47 in Shawano. Wind speeds fairly light, but we are going to see those pick up out of the southwest for today. Here's a look at your Friday forecast. Lots of sunshine, highs in the 70s. Another warm one out there. But we do also have a small craft advisory along the lakeshore on Lake Michigan. Waves today 2 to 5 feet. That small craft advisory continues through the weekend. Mo?
All right, Matt, thank you so much. With the ongoing overpopulation issues and continued violence against prison staff, a state lawmaker is once again pitching his idea in Madison. The idea is to shut down the Green Bay prison and rebuild somewhere near Brown County. NBC 26's Eric Kress reports from Madison.
At a public hearing at the state's capital, Representative David Staffen of Howard is attempting to convince state senators it's time to close the Green Bay Correctional Institution.
I think it was very well received. I felt very positive about how these senators were receptive to the idea. Certainly, there has to be some additional education.
The maximum security prison will need an estimated $220 million in safety upgrades and maintenance in the next 10 years alone. That's why Representative Staffen says the state should hire a contractor and build a new prison.
It is much more cost effective to go with a new facility where it'll be modern. We don't have to spend that $200 million on repairs, as well as have some savings through staff reductions that come through expanded technology and a better design that allows for that to occur.
While some senators seem receptive to the idea that a new prison should be built, others say we should be less concerned about building new prisons and more concerned about the rate at which people are being locked up.
Building a new prison literally sets in stone the failed policy of mass incarceration.
I'd really like to see an amendment, maybe a little bit more possible than just shutting down Green Bay Prison. And that would be a commitment, a way to tie your hands as legislators, that $154 million would not just go back into the general budget. It would be earmarked for recidivism promoting programs. It would be definitely going just right into treatment and diversion.
For now, though, a new prison's major selling points are saving taxpayers money and providing increased safety that the GBCI just can't provide. In Madison, I'm Eric Crest with NBC 26.
The State Senate Judiciary Committee clearing the way on 4 bills that would impose tougher drunk driving penalties. The Republican proposals would create a 5-year minimum prison sentence for homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle. They would also stop all repeat offenders and first-timers with a blood alcohol level over 0.15 from driving anything without an ignition interlock, and repeat offenders would be stripped of their licenses for at least 10 years. The bills now go to the full Senate for a vote. The Senate easily passed a budget for 2018, but it was overshadowed by Chief of Staff John Kelly. He delivered an emotional defense of President Donald Trump's phone call to the widow of a fallen soldier. NBC News correspondent Edward Lawrence joins us from Washington with more.
Well, good morning, Mo. He came into the White House briefing room and gave the most emotional defense of President Donald Trump we have seen to date. General John Kelly lost his son to a landmine and knows the pain of a Gold Star family. He defended President Donald Trump from accusations by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson that the president was insensitive.
I was stunned when I came to work yesterday morning and brokenhearted at what I saw a member of Congress doing.
The Congresswoman not backing down yesterday.
Why should I walk back my comments when everyone in the car also heard the same thing and have said that they heard the same thing? Walk them back to where? To where? Where do you walk back the truth?
Still, other members of Congress frustrated by the lack of details to how American troops walked into an ambush in Niger, killing 4 soldiers. Following this controversy added to others out of the White House, President George W. Bush took the extraordinary step to criticize the sitting president without personally naming him.
Bigotry seems emboldened. Our politics seems more vulnerable to conspiracy theories. In short, it is time for American institutions to step up and provide cultural and moral leadership for this nation.
Lost in this debate is an easy vote Thursday by the Senate to pass a budget for 2018. Passing a budget means Republicans can pass the tax cuts in a procedural vote. That means a simple majority of 50 senators or more. In Washington, Edward Lawrence, NBC 26.
Coming up, it's a grant giving peace of mind to parents at Green Bay schools. How they soon have more crossing guards in our Partners in Education report. And a police officer giving a complete stranger a car. See why after the break.
Another unseasonably warm October day, but a cool down is coming for this weekend. A cold front will cool things down and also bring us some rain on Sunday. The details in your full forecast coming up after the break. Stay tuned. It's 5:41 on your Friday morning.
All right, welcome back. A police officer in Lansing, Michigan surprised a woman he barely knew with a new car. Officer Trevor Arnold watched Lansing resident Joe Mead ride her bike 12 miles every day. Mead has not owned a car in over 8 years until now. With the help of several donations in the Lansing Kia dealership, Officer Arnold surprised her with a used car. Mead said she never expected it and planned to get dressed up and drive to play bingo in her new ride.
Just seeing her riding her bike to work every day, or taking the bus. I remember specifically one day last summer, it was extremely hot out, and here she comes riding her bike up to the building, just sweating and red-faced, and that's when I decided.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm surprised, and I really appreciate it.
So it's a really nice gesture on his part.
Yeah, it's a cool story. And she doesn't have to bike 12 miles now. Yeah,
I would not do that. No matter how nice the weather is, I still would not bike that long.
That's right. I mean, we do definitely have some nice biking weather today, though. Another warm one. It's feeling more like summer than fall this week. But if you look at the sunset, that'll remind you, yeah, we're in fall. Sunset now is before 6 p.m. 50 degrees currently in Green Bay, a south wind at 8 miles per hour. We're sitting at 43 in Clintonville, 51 for you folks in Sturgeon Bay, 51 up in Menominee, 53 in Fond du Lac, and 52 degrees currently in the Fox Cities. Wind speeds fairly light for most areas, a little bit of a breeze in spots, but winds will pick up for everybody as we go throughout your Friday. Winds out of the southwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. We have quiet conditions across the upper Midwest. If you're doing any kind of traveling today, no problems. But we do have some rain in the forecast for the weekend. But today we stay dry, mostly sunny, highs in the 70s. We will see some added cloud cover though for tonight. It stays warm though, highs in the 70s today, tomorrow, but then turning cooler for Sunday and then into next week, particularly cool for Tuesday into Wednesday. A little bit milder on Thursday, but there's signs of an even bigger cool down for the end of next week into next weekend. Here's a look at the temperature trend for the next 7 days. You can see starting off on the warmer side, but gradually getting down back closer to average for this time of the year by Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. Your forecast with SkyCast, mostly sunny for today. We will have some clouds start to move on in, partly cloudy for tonight. It will be mild as well, lows only in the upper 50s for tonight. And then tomorrow, most areas stay dry. There could be a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm mainly west of the Fox Valley tomorrow, but the main event will be on Sunday as that cold front approaches. And right now, Sunday looking rather soggy. We do have a severe threat, though, for western parts of the state into Minnesota and Iowa for tomorrow. Just could see an isolated thunderstorm here, but again, the widespread rain chance will be on Sunday, right around 1/4 of an inch falling across most of northeast Wisconsin. Today, it's dry, mostly sunny, warm and breezy. Highs a good 20 degrees above average for this time of the year, just crazy. Tonight down to 57, partly cloudy. Your extended forecast looking like this. Windy tomorrow, still warm, highs in the 70s. Sunday, we will see rain, especially late morning through early afternoon. We should dry out by the end of the day. And then Monday, late Monday into Tuesday, some showers possible as we cool things down for the middle of next week. 51 degrees and also a frosty morning to start Wednesday morning. Temperatures dipping down into the 30s.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, my first experience at a game and it's going to rain.
I know that's a bummer, but it's a bummer. But hopefully a lot of that rain can maybe move out and maybe the second half won't be as bad.
Still going to have fun regardless.
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. Well, coming up, it's our Partners in Education report, funding life-saving cross guards, a grant that's giving Green Bay schools the help they need. You're watching NBC 26 today. Stay with us. Students at Eisenhower Elementary School in Green Bay getting to and from school a little safer now. We take a closer look as the Safe Routes to School program expands in this morning's Partners in Education.
These kids make their way to Eisenhower Elementary School every morning with a little bit of help.
Giddy up, Buttercup.
Kathy Brock says it's all for the children.
Just to keep them focused on getting across the street safely and greeting them in the warm welcome every morning to put a little smile on their face and get their day started out right. Have a great day. Learn a lot.
And now with the help of a $1,000 grant from Shopko and NBC 26's Partners in Education, 8 schools in the Green Bay Area Public School District will get more crossing guards, whistles, and traffic cones to help students get safely to and from school.
The ability to act as crossing guards, stop traffic, and make them follow what commands that we're giving. It allows us to control what's happening around our buildings better.
School Safety and Security Coordinator Chris Collar says staff will soon be trained on how to serve as crossing guards. Leaders hope the children will feel safer walking.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay.
And parents will have more peace of mind knowing their children are better protected.
All right, Matt, speaking of heading out to school, meteorologist Matt Hoffman as you look at your forecast to start the workday. Matt, what should people expect?
Not too bad for the kids out there this morning, Mo. Temperatures, pretty mild for this time of the year. Usually our low temperatures are starting off on average in the 30s, but we are in the 40s and even 50s in some spots, so not too shabby. Here's a look at your school day forecast. This afternoon, gonna feel like the start of school with readings in the 70s, like it's early September with those kind of readings, and also lots of sunshine today as well. Fall color report, a lot of past peak showing up conditions across northern parts of the state. But in the next couple of days, get out in the Fox Valley, Door County, much of our viewing area, because we are seeing peak color, and that will likely come to an end as we head into next week. Here's your weekend forecast. Saturday is mainly dry, just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Sunday definitely looking like the wetter and also cooler of the 2 days. And also got to show that Packers forecast. Back home on Sunday against the Saints, and it does look rather wet. You're going to need the rain gear, Mo.
Hey, rain or shine, that game's still going to be fun.
It's going to be a great game. Should be fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. All right, let's take a look outside on your Green Bay Tower Cam. A mild day ahead of us on your Friday morning. You're watching NBC 26 today. Stay with us. All right, this is cool. Check this out. A bunch of kids in Indiana witnessed the annual pumpkin drop, and they really were not disappointed. Organizers hosted a 1,400-pound pumpkin using a crane. Hundreds of children were on hand for the annual tradition.
They held up signs and waited in anticipation, and a dance troupe did their rendition of Michael Jackson's Thriller to add to the atmosphere. The crowd counted down the seconds until they let it drop. Onlookers cheered as the gargantuan gourd smashed into pieces. After the drop, kids raced onto the parking lot to pick up the massive pieces of pumpkin. That is impressive.
You know, it's really cool, the Thriller. I mean, that song doesn't get old. I don't know how to do it very well, but it's
no,
really
I
fun
can't
song.
do it either. But yeah, it's definitely that time of year. You know, we are very close to Halloween, but it's not feeling like fall out there, not feeling like October. It's going to be another warm day today, highs climbing into the 70s. Breezy as well. Look for mostly sunny skies. Temperatures, though, out the door, you're starting off in the 40s to lower 50s across the area. So a warm day today. Tomorrow's looking warm as well, but then there's a cool down by the time we get towards Sunday, and also the chances for rain return after what's been a very dry week of weather here in northeast Wisconsin. So some changes on the way, much cooler conditions next week, and we're going to talk much more about that coming up next with another full hour of our show.
Yeah, it's going to start finally really feeling like fall next week.
Yes, yes.
All right, well, thank you so much. We have another full hour of news ahead, so stay with us. Don't go nowhere.